Hello. This is going to be a very short part of Final Fantasy IX, but we want to see the end of this. And we're going to do this with some interesting technology. But hey, Debaser. Thank you for showing up. Good to see you. Interestingly enough, I was looking into this the Final Fantasy IX situation yesterday, and I didn't know until yesterday that this PC version of Final Fantasy IX comes with what it calls boosters, which are effectively cheats that are built into the game. That I don't have to. There's no hack or anything. They're just there, and I've not been using them. So I think we're going to use one of them. There are some combat things that let you do lots of damage really fast, and I think I'm just going to do that because I want to see how this game ends so I can put it behind me. Exactly, yeah, because I literally think I would have to either slam my head against this for another 2 hours, or go back to the previous save, do a lot of grinding, come back, do the penultimate boss fight again, and do the final boss fight. I'd rather just see the end of it and we can all move on with our lives. It's definitely not a game that has, let's say, earned, but I feel like I haven't enjoyed the systems in this so much that I feel the need to really keep engaging with them, so. Exactly. It's in the game. It's in the port, maybe because they know how hard it can be or how frustrating it can be. So I'll use it, and we can see how this damn thing ends. This will be the last time that we see this scene, unless I screw something up. So the two boosts or boosters that I'll be using is, there's one that gives everyone instant trance, and all damage done is 99999. It's 9999. Yes. So ideally, we'll just quickly murder this guy and we can move on. And then I'll talk a little bit about the story afterwards, and then maybe we'll stream something else depending on what how we're all feeling. But how are you doing today, Debaser? How are you feeling? Yeah. I'm the same. It's just, it's good to have a weekend at least. Kind of chill. I like the boss design here though. Like Breast and Aboy, the Breasty Aboy here is oh yeah, yeah. It was like level 1 Typhoon, you know. All right, so we'll turn on all the things. So you can actually see down in the lower right. Oh, you can't because I'm currently hidden. In the lower right are the little boost icons, the 999 and the kind of thing. Yeah, I would love to eat this boss as kind of like the last thing that happens to it, but also I don't think we take very much damage in this boost mode. Yeah. So everyone just does 9999. Yeah. Yeah, no one takes damage either, so it's just God mode, which is fine. Also, so I watched a few videos on how people beat him, and all the fights take like 20 minutes. I mean, it's the last boss, so you know, it's expected. But just as a thing to bang your head against, not excited about it. Yeah. And like, so if we weren't playing the PC version, if we were trying to play this on the, so I did it. GG. All right. Why defy your fate? Is the will to live that powerful? But yeah, so even so, in the original version, if you died on this fight, you would have to reload before the previous fight. So you would have to do both fights back to back constantly. This is not the end. I am eternal. Yeah, that might be from the mod though, but I suspect some element of those are present in the original as well. I'll probably turn this up a little bit. So the infantry is reacting poorly. I feel like we didn't see enough of Beatrix. There were so many potentially interesting characters in this that we just sort of didn't really do anything with. Because like Beatrix actually had an arc. Like, she was fighting for the bad guys. She turned. She realized she wanted to serve Alexandria. She had a thing for Steiner, sort of, and then shrug. Cid, I liked Cid's arc. You know, he cheated on his wife, and she got upset and turned him into an Oglop. And he's, you know, trying to get some redemption. Has a really nice stash. This is Cid, by the way. I don't think you've seen Cid yet, Debaser. That's Cid there, the big stash. Yeah, I like the Cid arc. It was funny when he was first done being a frog. He still kept saying ribbit when he was human. It was not very funny, but you know. Yeah, everyone, like, all the interesting things seem to peak early or just stop early. Like the first like couple discs around, you know, like Vivi discovering what he is, and us discovering the Black Mages. That was also interesting, and you know, the concept of Zidane coming from a race of people who are similar, like it's a nice tie-in. I gave 0 fucks about Rojo and Steiner. I feel like Rojo, or Adamant, or whatever, or Amarant is the character's original name, was intended to be a side character or an optional character, and they sort of just made him permanent because he couldn't have been here at all, and like nothing would have changed. Yeah. It's definitely like a very proto automata plot where it's like, what does it mean to be human? What if you're made, you know, made for a purpose by something else? And yeah, there's some potential here. Aerith, whose original name is Dagger / Garnet, That's fine. Arc was she had an arc at least, you know, trying to realize her potential, I guess. You know, transformation, cutting her hair. Uh, yeah, I agree. Not particularly interesting. So Zidane is gonna go walk into the sunset here. Yeah, I mean, objectively, Steve didn't really have a story. If we had not really applied our our interest to Steve as we had, there's not a whole lot there. But uh, definitely character wise, not necessarily arc wise, but character wise, among the more interesting. Like not only you know how like that he does blue magic, but he wants to eat everything. Like he was fun, even if he wasn't really like an integral part of the story. He was an integral part of our story. So Zidane wants to go and I guess go back to Kuja. I like Clenny as a character. Freya is the original name. Again, the parts that were interesting ended very early. Like she was chasing that. Like, did we? Maybe that's a side quest because there was a thing where she was trying to figure out what happened to her love interest, and he had amnesia, and she was gonna go like help him with that, and then question mark. And yeah, throwaway characters are makes sense. Like they want to give you some flexibility in how you build your party. Yeah, exactly. Like Wutai being optional, her being optional makes a ton of sense. If you're like, hey, I want to explore this, or I don't care about this, then it's nice to have that option. Here, with Rojo slash Amarant, uh, and to an ex, in a, and to an extent, Mabel, whose original name is Aiko, like everyone just sort of like discs 1 through 3 was everyone sort of more like 1 and 2. Everyone's sort of like having an arc ish and resolving it, and then we sort of just faffing about with Kuja for 2 discs, and then suddenly space, and suddenly crystals, and suddenly. But yeah, there's definitely some side stuff. I don't think there's actually a full side quest arc from what I read. It's mostly like if you engage in the chocobo digging system, there's stuff. Um, if you, yeah, I think that's the main, like the cards, but that's not. I've already did most of that. Um, Steve's still hungry. Take me more places. Show me more food. And we're all gonna leave him. Like I would be interested in a exactly. I want to see the world. I want to eat all the food. Um, I would be interested in a were there ever to be like you know how they did it for 10 and not 10. Oh, they did it for 10, 10-2 and 13-2. Um, uh, like a sequel ish thing. Definitely Clenny, definitely Vivi. I feel like Vivi, Clenny, and Steve would be a cool trio of a story. Oh, the X2 is it's so complicated because story-wise, no, because after 10, obviously with the whole sin and everything, they went super. It was kind of interesting because it explored like what happens after the world almost ends, which was kind of cool. Like we don't really see that often in RPGs. But the 3 female leads start a pop group to give you a sense of what's happening. And it's pretty campy throughout the whole thing, which is kind of nice. Like it knows what it's doing. It's not trying to be super serious, but it's I kind of liked it. Maybe I should go back to that as well. Actually, that might be interesting at some point. But I would have to play through all 10 again, which maybe it's time. It's out in a remastered format, so. Maybe I should play 10. Maybe I should follow this up with 10. I can go 9, 10. That'd be nice and sequential. Awesome. Awesome. Are you, which one are you going to tackle first, you think? So the chemistry of these 2 characters has been also kind of weird. Like Zidane was chasing her for most of the game. Now she's into him, I guess. I mean, I don't know. This guy may never end, right? Like this guy is it's a black hole of time. That's fair. So he's gonna stay behind, and I'm hoping there's like a twist here where he like is evil at the end or something, but. Yeah, I think, and I definitely want to go back to Disgaea, but I feel like there's going to be a point where the systems stop, and it's just like, okay, now you need to just grind all the gears for 200 more hours, and then you're like, eh. Half the fun is like as it unfolds, right? It's Arbor Day. This is some oddly unclear video. And they didn't render him in it. We're using the in-game version of him, which is even worse. Yeah, exactly. Like it's once the systems have stopped, you know, blossoming, it's definitely less interesting. It's like, okay, now I just need to play numbers, just the game. And oh, there's the Kuja we actually like. I'm just gonna hang out here. What was that? What was that fall? We're still playing? Yes. Oh, did I say that out loud? I sure hope so. So we both know it's the right thing to happen right now. I guess they're technically like brothers, so that would be, I mean, you know, the internet is into that right now, so whatever. Is that is that how that works? Also, I'm confused as to why Kuja's like not. Oh, I see. Why he suddenly just. I guess he's defeated. He's learned his lesson. Sleepy. But he's built to be impermanent, so. But... Poison Ivy shows up. Kuja gave us all hope. Is that true? You give us hope because we defeated you. Oh, okay. Sometime later. We're gonna do credits at the bottom. Oh. Oh, this is the beginning. Right? Oh, never mind. I don't think I'm actively playing anymore. He made. Okay. No idea. That's her boy, right? Okay, they're gonna rebuild their town. He's gonna. What about his memory? He was amnesiac for a while, wasn't he? Oh, okay. So we didn't really do anything with that. It's nice, at least. Oh, in my 9-2, I would also have Beatrix in it. So this is the other bounty hunter he was competing with slash knew about. This was around for like 10 seconds. There's the main character. Good food not only delicious, good food made with heart. That's true, Steve. Please don't get your tongue in my food. That's all I ask. That's a nice shot of Sid. That stash, though. So they sort of adopted her as a that's nice. See? Yeah, clearly. And we're gonna have her and Steiner. Yeah, we are. Who were like shipped in the middle of disc 3 for no real reason other than to do it. The gang's all there. It's nice. I like the sexy pose that Senna has in the front. Don't mind My memories will be part of the sky. Oh, now she's queen. Can't be rolling around in that pantsuit anymore. It probably did, yeah. More like your memory will be floating on the ether or floating in the yeah. I think the localization was definitely, compared to 8 was pretty good. 7 had its issues obviously, but that's its own story. But more or less it felt okay here. There weren't like really big stumbles. You could see the all we are is dust in the wind. There wasn't like any there were a few clumsy bits here and there, but overall it felt fairly solid. Oh, I'm playing again. Was this the Canary play again? Well, I mean, you know, there was they expanded the localization after 7. The group that did it, after realizing how much of a problem it was, they actually had a team do 8 and 9 and so on. There's actually an interesting in a lot of the interviews for Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO that I occasionally play a lot. There's like a lead guy who does the story. and he's like in charge of localization, but he has a huge team. And he actually talks about at length that how much effort goes into it now versus back in the day, because they want it to work in Europe and North America, and not just be just a thing that they shove out the door, which makes sense. There's always going to be things that don't quite translate well, but oh yeah, the Canary play, yeah. There. Wasn't Cornelia a thing in 1 as well? Wasn't that the... Is that the name of the first castle you were in? Seems familiar. Ooh, violence. This is a weird way to end this game. Like, I know that it's how it started, so we're trying to close the circle, but it feels a little weird. It was a town, okay, cool. Oh, there are 2 moons? Or are we seeing Gaia? Or Terra? I'm not playing again. Who do you think is playing Marcus? I feel like this is going to be some sort of reveal. Aha! I mean, you were technically correct. Also, we never really talk about how Steiner, A, is wearing a lot of eyeliner, and B, why he's among the more cartoonalized character in this. Let's let the queen just run out into the crowd. You're good. You're gonna need that. I'm gonna throw off all my... Yeah, right? Like, we have 3 models. Let's just copy paste them throughout the... The family of Vivies is pleased, which we were just not talking about. How did you survive? How dare you ask me that? Love Shack. That was their song. Love Shack, baby. Also, we've rebuilt the town? The castle? That was the one that was blown up, right? I think so. Okay, credits. GG on Final Fantasy IX. I'm not happy yet that I had to gently choose my way in the last boss, but I feel like I didn't want to. I feel like I saw the game. I feel like there's I saw most of the content that I wanted to see. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me on this journey the past 30 plus hours. I'm curious. So I have some thoughts on it, but I'm kind of curious on your take to Baser, because I know you've played a lot more of the earlier ones, and a lot more recently, and I'm kind of curious what, because this is clearly. Let me turn this down a little bit. This was clearly trying to harken back to those older games, right? With, not just with the setting, but with kind of all the callbacks. You know, like, yeah, big time throwbacks. It was clear that at Square they're like, okay, we want to, considering how fucking not insane, but really really wild the story went in 8 in terms of the complexity of the story. This felt like they were like, let's just make a basic. This is pretty basic, right? As far as Final Fantasy stories go. Let's make a basic throwback back to just medieval fantasy. And yeah, the system's definitely. I feel like it was also. They weren't really a throwback. But they were definitely a pivot away from 8, because 8 was pretty complex in terms of what it did. I did, yes, Splunkin. I fought the boss all by myself and definitely didn't have to use a couple built-in cheats in the PC version of the game to beat it, which I did. I had to, because I wanted to see the story, so I did. Yeah, it's like the. Yeah, it was very similar to 6 in terms of like the things that you could fiddle with, but the same systems that because you know, like 7 had materia, but it was done in such a way that you could kind of use it how you wanted to. You could kind of, you know, come up with little combos. You could set different people up as different types of classes if you wanted. Here, the classes were all predefined. You know, everyone had a class that they were clearly modeled after a classic class, like Monk and Blue Mage and Dragoon and all that. But there wasn't. I didn't really customize them, right? Like everyone's weapons were linear. You just had stuff that were better. That was better and better and better. And you could kind of. There's a little bit of that where you could learn like certain things from certain weapons if you wanted to learn, but that was more of a function of how much time you wanted to put into it. Like, do I want to spend an hour grinding this guy to learn this ability that I might want to use? So I feel like 6 still had some more flexibility in terms of what you could customize and kind of play it kind of how you wanted to. Whereas this was just a hallway where it's like, okay, All that you can really customize is who you bring in the party, and even that they fucked with the entire time. Like every hour my party composition changed, and I couldn't do anything about it. Only at the very end were they like, okay, here's all 8 people. Make your ultimate party, and because of how the story had gone up to that point, like for example, Steiner was level 26 at the point where I could start picking my party, and I'm sure he would level up fast, but it was just like, I don't know. It felt very very clumsy. Obviously, the story was not interesting. The first half was very boring and yeah, exactly. Yeah, the I feel like the plot had potential. There were potentially some interesting characters like we were talking about earlier, but it got way up its own ass in terms of the last the end game of this. Yeah, yeah. I honestly kind of wish it had stayed in the scope that the first few discs were in. Obviously, it's potentially more interesting to keep rationing things up and keep expanding the scope and say, oh, it's not just about this planet, it's about two planets and they're oh yeah, no, open world happened. And that's the other thing, like there wasn't a lot to do in the open world. Like there wasn't like optional things to go look at. Like the world was very very empty in terms of like even if they had given me open world, it'd be like, okay, well, I don't know, like what are you gonna go do? Well, I've been to all the towns. I guess I'll just run around for a little bit and then come back. Like there was no side stuff to do aside from I guess the chocobo hunting stuff was the only really uh, side material, and that leads to some activities. You get the water chocobo, you get the mountain chocobo, blah blah blah. If you want to get that, but that's all just for items. No, no. I mean, honestly, I didn't go through all the old towns, all of them, but the 2 that I went through, one got destroyed when it went open world. Like Alexandria was blown up. The other one, they were like, we're rebuilding. Good luck. Like there wasn't really a sense that the world super changed when it went open world. It just sort of like, it's the same state. Exactly. Yeah. It gave you a reason to want to go back to the old places and see what changed. Here, I did not feel like that was here at all. It was just like, sure, you could go there, but and like honestly, like there were, in terms of like map points of interest, there were not that many, and there like 4 of them opened up at a story beat and then weren't used again. Like the Earth Palaces and the Fire Palaces and stuff. That all, yeah, that's the trophy for that's the achievement for finishing it. 2000, 2001, 2016. So 2016 is when they did the port. So, all right. Yeah, I beginning of the decline. I don't know. And maybe it's time to play 10 again. But well, 12 story was actually pretty good. 12 had a pretty interesting story, and that didn't like go off the rails. That was a pretty interesting confined story. 10 was, at least it was more interesting than this. Yeah, I mean, so eight will be very divisive in terms of the story, which is kind of why I'm curious what you think of it, because it goes pretty far in terms of complexity. I still prefer 10 to this story wise. At least 10. At least 10 was doing its crazy thing from the beginning, more or less. Like it sort of made sense for the arc. Here, this was like 2/3 medieval fantasy. I when I say complexity in 8, I don't mean like yeah, it's a little convoluted. Um, but it's I like it. Um, but yeah, here it was like 2/3 like medieval fantasy. Oh, and then we'll finish it with, you know, metaphysical interstellar uh, calamity. The end. Yeah, this just felt kind of. It felt like it didn't know it didn't know what it wanted to do, and it didn't know how to execute it. They had some ideas. Yeah, but I mean, you're right. That's a fairly common end game for a JRPG, but I feel like this was just like I felt like it felt dropped in. It felt like they're like, okay, we should probably have a metaphysical conflict now. Like, what is this clover? Can I play blackjack after beating the game? Yeah, it was very it was very tacked on. All Ranger 20. Wait. I'll hit on 17. Oops, I didn't mean to hit. I meant to stand. Oh, 20, yeah. That was the Steve achievement for winning a game of blackjack. Why is blackjack in a Final Fantasy IX PC port? Let's wager a lot. I hit me. Hit me. Stand. Okay. Anyway, that's. Oh, so we can watch all the movies now. But yeah, it's. I like the visuals in this more or less. Like the some very cool areas and some very interesting. Uh, like they definitely nailed it in terms of doing a at the time more modern medieval fantasy setting. It's just the story was not there for me. What happens if I hit continue? What happens? Oh, it just plays the end again. Oh, okay. So this is just that unlocked. I see. Okay. Well, that's Final Fantasy IX. Ugh. I'm glad I played through it. I'm also glad I didn't spend 4 more hours on the final boss and just waved my hand and had it go away. I'll have to think a little bit about what which one to play if I want to do 5, which I never finished, or if I want to go back to 10, see how that holds up with the remake and then 10 too. But yeah, we'll have to see. I might be down for. Okay, yeah, that's what I've heard of a lot about 5 is that there's a lot of job tinkering, and that seems like it could be interesting. The version that's on Steam is the one that was the mobile port of 5 that had kind of the more anime graphics used, but that should be fine. I'm not worried too much about the authenticity of it. Um, okay, maybe I'll do 5 because I would much rather not know what's happening or not know what's coming. And I played through 10 and 10.2 when those came out in 2000. Yeah, I'm not worried about it being purist. Like as long as they don't change any of the actual story or the content, I don't really care. Like sure, it's nicer to play it in the original if you have it, but I don't have a Super Famicom anywhere, so um, I'm happy to give it a go. I could stream for another hour or so, maybe do some XCOM or do some Warhammer. I don't know what you guys are wanting to see me. What would you want to see me play? Leave your comments in the chat below. I can't start another Final Fantasy right now, man. I need to digest this. I will start a new long series thing on Monday, but XCOM. We could give XCOM a shot. I've not tried it yet, so. All right. I will. I'm gonna take the stream down for a second, just so it's easier to archive, and then I'll start back up with some XCOM in about 2 minutes. So, thanks for coming to hang out each time I play this, guys. That really helped a lot to have people to talk to while going through this. I hope it was entertaining to watch me grumble my way through most of Final Fantasy IX. Cool. All right, I'll be back in just a couple minutes.